Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Rebecca Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about overcoming self doubt. Now, there's a common misconception that if you're doubting yourself and you need more confidence, that you should try harder, work harder, try it again, do it better. And I'm going to tell you, trying harder is not the answer. It's actually the opposite. If you are up against self doubt, if you're experiencing a plateau in your sport or you're just in a stuck place, trying harder is not going to work. So I'm going to give you 3 steps, pretty simple steps to overcome self doubt. And first, I'm going to tell you about a figure skater who I have been working with over the last 2 years. I'm going to call her Angela. That's not her real name because I want to protect the confidentiality of her. But so in October 2018, so it's 2 years ago, mom reached out to me for support. She said that she was freezing up before her jumps. It just wasn't going well. As soon as the music turned on, it's like her confidence disappeared. She was okay in practice, but then her music went on for her program and it was time to perform. And she just was overcome by overthinking and self doubt. Now, she had had an injury previous and she was fully cleared to go back, but she had this fear of getting hurt again. But really, what was happening was that she was overthinking it. And right before her big jumps, her big elements, she got tense. She got really tense and she felt the pressure getting to her. She started shaking. She almost gave up. She hated competing. She got to this place where it was just too much. So what she had been doing up to this point was she was trying really, really hard. She really cared. She really wanted it. And I see this all the time where athletes, they want it. They believe, like, if I just try harder, if I just go at it better, if I just do it again, then I'll get my mojo back. But what happens is that they get frustrated. So let's say, if you're a gymnast, you're going for a skill and you're freezing up or it's not working. And then you try again and you fail again. And then you try again and you fail again. And, or you're a skater and you're falling, or it's not happening, or you're popping. You eventually fall apart. You're like, okay, you come back the next day and you're like, all right, I'm going to try harder. And then you fail and then you fall apart. And then if this happens enough days in a row that you're putting in all this effort, you actually start to believe that you can't do it. You lose your self-belief, you lose your confidence, you lose your motivation, you lose your effort, and you're just like ramming your head into the wall, trying something over and over that isn't working. So what you need to do if you're in that situation is you need to do things differently. You can't keep doing the same thing and then expect different results. It's not a matter of do the same thing harder. It's you have to do something different if what you're doing is ending up in frustration often. And the main thing you need to do, which might sound kind of backwards, is you have to stop forcing it. You have to start letting it happen. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Like, wouldn't it be so nice to just go, oh, great, just let it happen. Just like the music comes on, let it happen. It is that simple, but that's like the end of the journey. You still have to journey from where you are to the place where you can just let it happen. So there is this missing link for young athletes who are on what I call the mental block roller coaster, where they're having a good day, a bad day, good day, a bad day, good day, bad day. And those bad days just start kind of racking up. And then that doubt comes up and it gets stronger and it results in negativity because you're like, is it going to be a good day? Oh, and they're sort of cringing. Is it going to be a bad day? Or, oh, I hope that this doesn't transfer to my other elements or my other events. Ugh. So the missing link for athletes in that situation is the ability to trust. Trust your training, trust yourself, trust your coach, trust that you are right where you're supposed to be. Okay. And I'm going to tell you how to get there, sort of what that journey entails. But first, think about your best performance. The best performance that you ever had. I want to ask you, did you force it or did you let it happen? Did you over try or did you let it happen? For most people, your answer is going to be that you let it happen, that you sort of just let your training shine through. You can have a decent performance where you are really trying to be perfect and trying to force it, but I'm going to tell you most of most of the time when you approach it that way, you are not getting the best of yourself. So if you can do decently under those circumstances, imagine what would be possible if you could drop into the flow and just allow your body to execute its muscle memory without any extra anything happening in your mind. It's like freedom. So, how do you do it? How do you get to trust? Well, there are 3 steps, and trust is the third one. So there are 2 critical steps you have to get through in order to get to that place where you can just let it happen. The first one is awareness. So with this figure skater, she started to become aware of what was not working. And the way that you do this is you start paying attention. So we have coaches in our coaching program that are highly trained at helping you learn how to pay attention, but it's not something you need a coach for. You can do this with a journal. You can do this with just reflecting with a parent if that's something the athlete wants to do. I know plenty of time that's not the move. Athletes don't want to talk about it, but you have to become aware and you have to figure out what's not working. Like, okay, this isn't working. Great. Cross that off the strategy list. And then once you have a good idea of what's not working, you go back into those previous performances and go, okay, well, what is? And then you start paying better attention. And that's something that I train my athletes to do, is how to pay attention to what's working and what's not. Instead of just thinking it's not working, I'm the problem. Like, no, you are not the problem. Your strategy is the problem. So you have to first get aware. And this is usually when people abandon ship on mental training, is in that first month or 2. And I just got an email from a parent whose her daughter's, in her 2nd month of mental training, and she is like derailing because what's happening is she's starting to notice how negative she is. She's starting to notice how her deadlines that she's imposing on herself and her, really trying to be rigid with herself is not working. And so that's the point where the real change happens, is when you get so stinking frustrated with the way that you're operating that you're finally like, fine, okay, I get it. This is not working. I want more for myself. I want better for myself. So what do I do? Okay, so you get that awareness piece. You get real clear on your own strategies. We cross off the ones that aren't working. We add a few in that are. We refer to the past of, those best days, what worked for you. Then once you're aware, and only then can you start building your confidence. A lot of people they're like, let's do some affirmations. Let's visualize, but you cannot start building confidence if you're not deeply aware of what makes you tick. So then once you are, and you're willing, and you haven't jumped ship, and you're like, I want to get better, and I want to transcend this pattern in myself that keeps me stuck, trying to be in control, trying to, over control, or trying to be perfect. All of those things that probably set you up to become an amazing athlete are things that will hold you back in life if you don't get them figured out. So once you've got your patterns sorted out, you move into step 2, which is confidence building. And that is where we start to give you new strategies. So not just the ones you already have that work, but we start to give you new strategies that will help you to build momentum on that awareness. So you're like, okay, I'm aware that I'm not killing it with my mental strategy. So now we're going to start adding in some things that will help you to get more confident. And then once your confidence has increased, once you've built some momentum, once you've started to do things in a new and different way, and you've had to use a little faith, because a lot of the time athletes are like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do it my way. I got this. Coaches can be sort of guilty of that too. Like, we're going to do it my way and it's going to work. Well, you have to take that leap of faith and try something different. And then when that finally starts to work, then you're like, oh, I get it. Okay. My old way wasn't working, was it? That's when you've got this little tool bag of things you can use to up your confidence. You kind of get an idea of, well, I need to prep in this way so that I feel ready. And I use this tool at this time, but I don't want to leave you there where you're like, I have to think about my mental training preparation before I compete, because that defeats the purpose. Again, I don't want you overthinking this thing. So then we go into phase 3, which is trust. So you're deeply aware of when things are on track or off track. You have tools to make it so that you can get back on track and ratchet up your confidence when you need it. You can get your focus in place. You can get present in the moment. Then with all of that, you're ready to trust yourself. During this time, you've been building up your muscle memory. You've been building up your mental strategies. And then you finally get to this like higher echelon of mental training where you can let go. You can let go of all those things you think you need to think and all those corrections you think you need to make, and you can just execute. And again, that takes a leap of faith. Just as you leapt into the confidence building phase, you have to leap into the trust building phase. And you have to actually, and I've been talking with tons of athletes about this week because we're getting a little bit closer to gymnastics competition season. There is a point where your muscles are ready and your mind is ready too. And it's time to leap. And that is a calculated risk where you have to go, I'm going to try to trust. And I'm going to try right now. And I'm going to do the best I can. And then you cycle back to awareness. And then afterward, you go, did I trust it? Did I not? If I didn't, why not? If I did, great. How do I repeat that? Okay, so that's the 3-step process. That's the process that I teach in Perform Happy. That's the process I work with all my coaches work with their one-on-one clients. Awareness, confidence, trust, in that order. So don't give up at the awareness piece. If you're uncomfortable, then your job is to accept that what you're doing is not working. If you try harder at the same strategy, you will only get more frustrated. You might get a little successful sometimes, but ultimately each backslide, each time that you go back into that like self-deprecating negativity, try harder, be perfect kind of mindset, you lose hope more and more. So you have to start paying attention, acknowledge that it's not working, and then make a commitment to change. And then we can start building that confidence. And then you get into self-trust. So back to Angela. Over time, she figured out what wasn't working. She built her confidence slow and steady. She learned her strengths. She learned how to be present. She let go of the pressure. And now it's so exciting. It's so cool to watch this happen in these athletes. She trusts herself. She knows how to turn on the fire in competition. Like she knows how to use any potential negative that would have derailed her, like jealousy or perfectionism or competition or insecurity, any of those, she turns those into the fire that makes her amazing. She lets go of mistakes quickly. She is not a perfectionist and she is qualified to Worlds. She's a serious contender for the 2022 Winter Olympics. And she's not feeling pressure about that. She's excited to compete. She's consistent. She's confident and she trusts herself. It's like, whoo, so good. So that is why I do this. It's like, I want to see that story more and more and more. And these athletes that come to me stuck and freezing up and doubting themselves, that they blossom into these amazing athletes that are just like, it's electrifying to watch this process happen. So if you want more information, I have a free sport confidence roadmap that goes into more detail on the exact formula that Angela followed, that tons of other athletes are following. So if you want that, you can download it for free, completeperformancecoaching.com/roadmap. That just goes more into detail around the 3-step process. And just start with awareness today. Start with awareness, realize what's not working, and make a commitment to do something different. All right. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.